Women in Gaza report sexual abuse by Hamas in exchange for humanitarian aid.
The world has heard horrific accounts of Israeli men and women who suffered sexual violence while in Hamas captivity.
Now, however, shocking testimonies are emerging from within the Gaza Strip itself, revealing that Palestinian women also live under constant threat of abuse by the militants of the group that governs the territory. Gaza residents are beginning to break their silence, despite the great risk they face. They describe cases of sexual abuse by multiple men, blackmail to obtain food, money or humanitarian aid, and exploitation by people in positions of power within organizations linked to Hamas. This comes at a time when the terrorist group is trying to strengthen its control over the population, while international attention turns to other conflicts in the region. Local human rights organizations estimate that up to 60,000 women are in a situation of extreme vulnerability. There is also a worrying increase in child marriages and early pregnancies, which indicates the progressive dismantling of protection for new generations. A report by the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, confirms this trend. Before the war, the teenage marriage rate had fallen to 11% in 2022, but has now risen alarmingly again. In just 4 months of 2025, at least 400 girls aged 14 to 16 were registered as married, and experts warn that the real number is much higher, as many cases go unreported.
The Daily Mail obtained video statements recorded by Gaza News inside the Gaza Strip. In one of them, a Palestinian man, who preferred to remain anonymous for his safety, said he found a widow displaced by the war being molested inside a tent by several members of the Qassam Brigades, the armed wing of Hamas. "We asked a commander for help, but he took advantage of it," he reported. When the case was brought to the leadership, the order was clear: remain silent. They told us not to say anything, the man said indignantly. Another resident confirmed a similar incident with a neighbor. A Hamas-linked charity organization allegedly demanded that she prostitute herself in exchange for a package of food, an aid voucher, or just 100 shekels, about $25. A militant from the Qassam Brigades also admitted that widows of martyrs are being exploited in the Garabli region of Deir el-Balah. When reporting the incident, he was told to shut up. Outraged, he even tore down the tent where the abuse was taking place. Abdullah, a journalist from Gaza News who recorded the statements and now lives in hiding in fear of reprisals, says that the cases are very common. In all areas, many women are exploited, especially widows and divorcees, who have no support or income. Their vulnerability is taken advantage of, and the situation gets worse every day, he told the Daily Mail.
Noor, a divorced mother of 4, also spoke by phone, whispering so as not to be overheard. Displaced by the war and receiving no official aid, she turned to an Islamic charitable organization. A man who presented himself as religious and respectable promised to help her. "He said he would support me, called me beautiful and took my number," she said. What started as a seemingly paternal conversation soon turned into harassment. He suggested a late-night video call and made inappropriate comments. When Noor confronted him, he replied, "You can't expose me, I am the government here." An elderly Palestinian woman summarized the situation in a statement to Gaza: "They deceive desperate women. They offer a little sugar or a grain of rice in exchange for sexual favors." Another woman directly accused a large charity of operating as a network of sexual harassment, psychological abuse and exploitation of young people. Hamza Hawadi, a Gazan writer, warns that abuses are worse now than during the worst moments of the war. Many victims remain silent out of shame and fear of the social consequences. It's not just widows. Single women and mothers are also forced to seek help to feed their children and end up vulnerable, he explained. He argues that only women's economic independence can break this cycle.
Meanwhile, Hamas continues to reject disarmament proposals and ceasefire agreements and maintains iron control over Gaza, taking advantage of the misery caused by the war it helped to provoke. Reports show that exploitation is not limited to ordinary militants. It ranges from commanders to employees of supposed charities. These testimonies, brought to light with enormous courage by local journalists who risked their lives, reveal a dark reality inside Gaza. Women desperate for food and safety end up trapped in a web of abuse and forced silence, while the world often ignores what happens beyond Hamas official narratives.